So I just got done watching POWERBOOK 4 Season 3, Episode 1, and this premiere episode was fire. I cannot wait to see Tommy take over Chicago and become the only connect. Him and Diamond, that is. He mentioned that at least 4 or 5 times this episode, and I can't wait to see that come true. I also can't wait to see how Tommy and Tariq are going to link back up, because we know that we have that spinoff with Tommy and Tariq coming up soon. So can't wait to see them link up, and hopefully Tariq will help Tommy out because Tommy got so many ops. But before I get into my recap of Season 3, Episode 1, Do or Die, let me introduce myself if you're new here. My name is Brandy, and I realize that you could be on any channel in the world, but you're right here with me, and I really do appreciate that. So please go ahead and like this video. It really does help the channel out, and I greatly appreciate it. And also subscribe to the channel if you do like watching TV show reviews and also movie reviews. So Episode 1 picks up right where Season 2 left off. There was no time lapse whatsoever, which is crazy because it's been 2 years since we actually saw this show. But they jump right back in where we left off, and there's a lot of urgency and a lot of momentum. We see Tommy walking angrily to his car, and Diamond is right behind him. And Tommy tells Diamond, like, listen, I need you to go get Vic. You know, I heard that the feds is on the way to get him, so you need to get there first. And Diamond is kind of like, why can't you go? Like, where are you going? And Tommy like, listen, I got something very important to handle. And Diamond is like, what's more important than this? And right then and there, you can see that Tommy and Diamond are still not all the way locked in, and that they're keeping secrets from one another. Now we see Mariah and Miguel has her holed up in some basement, and Mariah is holding her own. She is telling her brother, like, listen, you are my brother, but you can't control me. I'm going to be with Tommy. I love Tommy. Tommy will do anything for me. But before I go any further, Mariah's a little bit messy, y'all. She is. Like, for her to be the sister of Miguel and to be Tommy's girl, like, I feel like she should kind of omit herself from that situation. She should leave Tommy alone, in my opinion, because Tommy going to get murked or Miguel going to get murked. It's just a really messy situation. But I won't put all the blame on Mariah, because I actually do like Mariah and Tommy together low key. I think she's pretty strong, and I like that for him. But I will say this, Tommy should back off as well, because Tommy know whenever he fall in love with somebody, they end up getting murked. But nonetheless, we see Mariah in this scene. She's standing 10 toes down, and her brother is trying to tell her, like, listen, Tommy only messing with you to get at me. And Mariah's just holding her own and telling Miguel that, no, Tommy really does love me. And Miguel's like, listen, I'm not going to let you go. And Miguel proceeds to walk off. And Mariah grabs Miguel's gun from his waist, and she pulls the strap on Miguel, and Miguel challenges her, like, listen, shoot me. Of course, she doesn't shoot him, but she does pull the gun on herself, and she says, listen, if you won't let me be in this world with Tommy, then I'm not going to be in this world without him. And she says, listen, I'm not going to let you make me hurt myself. If you don't let me be with Tommy, then I'm going to tell Che that you killed Armando. And that definitely makes Miguel stand down. He backs up, he walks away, and he agrees to let Mariah go. So when Tommy pulls up a few scenes later, Tommy rolls up on Miguel solo, y'all. Miguel got his whole crew with him, and Tommy is just a one-man band. And Tommy is like, let her go. Where is she? You better not have hurt her. And Miguel's boys, they got Tommy hemmed up, but Tommy's still popping off at the mouth. And Tommy says, well, I did let her go, but it's only because of Che. That's the only reason you're alive right now. But if you hurt my sister, I will skin you alive. You're going to be done. But Tommy is bold for going to step to Miguel and his crew solo. But I think it's 2 reasons he did this. For one, I think Tommy is head over heels in love with Mariah. And I do think, hopefully, that they're going to have a happy ending somehow. Now, Tommy done had too many people around him that he loved get murked. So he ain't going to let nothing happen to Mariah. Now, Jannard and Shanti. Either Jannard is going to end up killing Shanti, or Shanti's going to end up killing Jannard. But nonetheless, we see them at her gym, and they're effing. He has her up against the boxing ropes, taking her to Pound Town. And I can't help but think that her pH balance is going to be so off after this session. That is so unsanitary. But I ain't mad at it because it was a good scene. But after they got done doing the do, they start talking about how they're so happy that they got Tommy taken off the map. And Shanti asked Jannard, like, did you get a text or a call yet confirming that Tommy actually did get murked? And Jannard is like, not yet, man. But chill, man. Don't start, man. Everything good. And you could tell right then and there that Shanti is clocking it like, man, Tommy ain't dead yet. You ain't get no phone call from Diamond. You ain't get no call from nobody. Tommy's still alive out here. So Tommy calls Maria, and he is frantic. He's like, are you okay? And she's like, yes, I'm fine, but you need to promise me that you will not hurt my brother. And right then and there, Tommy cannot promise her anything He's happy that she's okay and he wants to be with her, but he does not promise that he will not hurt Miguel right there on the spot. And she tells him, listen, until you can promise me that you will not hurt my brother, then I don't want to see you. And she hangs up on him immediately. But we do see towards the end of this episode that Tommy does go to see Maria, and he does promise not to kill Miguel. Well, he says, I won't kill Miguel. So we all know that Tommy is just going to go a roundabout way of having Miguel killed. But their beef is definitely not over, and his promise to Maria means nothing. Now, Stacy goes to the warehouse where Vic was kept at, and no one is there. Vic is gone because we as the audience see that Diamond just came through and picked him up. But Stacy is about to crash out. She thinks Vic is dead. She finds Vic's phone there. She smashes it on the ground. And when Stacy goes back to her office, she tells her team that Victor Flynn is dead. And now their number one priority is getting Tommy Egan. And her team is like, listen, especially Bobby, her husband, he's like, listen, our number one priority should be convictions. And you could tell Bobby is just sick of her shit. Hopefully Stacy doesn't end up getting Bobby murked because she is so gung-ho on getting her hands on Tommy that I think Bobby gonna get caught up in the crossfire. We also see a scene with Stacy having a meeting with a woman from the Democratic Party. And the woman is telling her, like, listen, you can run for mayor. You've been doing such a great job, and we want to provide you our backing. And Stacy seems shocked because she's been so focused on Tommy Egan that she didn't realize all of her other accomplishments, but the Democratic Party did. And they're just telling her that, listen, you know, forget about Tommy Egan. Just focus on the convictions. So later on, we see her switching her tune up a lot. And I was happy she did, right? Because she be so focused on Tommy to a fault. And she tells her team, like, listen, now we're going to focus on convictions. We're going to keep the main thing the main thing. But as she's telling her team to forget about Tommy Egan for now, they get a call from federal lockup that Merkovich is dead and also that Claudia has been hit. And we saw earlier in this episode that Ortega's lawyer went to meet with Merkovich. He had Merkovich sign some paperwork and he passed him over like a post-it note with some drugs on it. I don't know if the drugs were fentanyl. I don't know if was it anthrax. I don't know what it was. But when Merkovich got back to his cell and he took the post-it note out of his pocket and opened it up, it was one word written on the post-it note and it said goodbye. And I guess he just inhaled the white substance just by opening up the post-it note, and he started gasping and choking. Then he fell to the ground and he was foaming out the mouth. And I'm like, oh my God, whatever that substance was, like, I really do want to know. Comment down below if you know what that substance was. But damn, he didn't even like snort it or nothing. He just opened it up and he got murked that way. Now we see Jannard and Shanti. I was about to say Shanard, like combine their names together. We see them two at the boxing spot and they're talking about how they're going to have Tommy and Diamond taken out. But little did they know, Tommy had walked in and he was right there. And I'm like, did Tommy overhear their conversation? It didn't seem like he overheard it in that moment, or maybe he just played it off, but we don't know that just yet if he heard them plotting or not. But anyway, he tells them that Merkovich is dead and they need to make a play to get all of Merkovich's customers. And when Tommy steps off, Jannard and Shanti, they're like, damn, this motherfucker won't die. He got like 9 lives. And you know what? I really think that I kind of like Shanti a little bit, just a little bit, y'all. I really think that Shanti could be Tommy's new Liliana. If things were so messy and convoluted between the two, I really think that she could be his right hand. But as Jannard and Shanti are talking, Jannard gets a message from King Kilo that he needs to come see him ASAP. Now, later on in the episode, when Jannard goes to visit King Kilo in prison, he changes up his story. King Kilo was like, listen, I need whoever killed my nephew to be killed ASAP. I can't sleep. I'm stressed out. I need this problem handled right away. And Jannard is like, listen, I thought when you got out that we was going to hand him to you and you was going to do it yourself. And Kilo was like, nah, I changed my mind, man. I want it done ASAP. He says, if you and Diamond want to keep the peace and keep us in the coalition, then we need this done right away. And this is a huge dilemma for Jannard, Diamond, and all of them because D-Mac is Tommy's nephew. Although the way that D-Mac is moving on the show does warrant him being taken out, Jannard and them don't want no parts in that. And again, Tommy done lost so many people around him. I mean, I know that Tommy would go to great lengths to protect D-Mac as well. Now we see Vic, Diamond, and Tommy having a conversation. And Tommy is playing games with Vic. Tommy is acting like he came to the conclusion that it was Shanti that was the snitch. He mentioned that Shanti was double dipping, that she had a side hustle with Vic's sister Claudia, and Shanti's definitely the one that's a snitch. And Tommy gives Vic his regular payment and he tells Vic to go on about his way, go do his runs, go collect the money that he needs to collect, business as usual. And I'm surprised that Vic fell for it, but I'm more surprised that Tommy actually let the snitch go. And you could tell that Diamond was a bit skeptical too. Diamond is like, you sure about this? And Tommy was like, it's all good. I'm going to be watching everything that he does. Also during the scene, Diamond got a text message that Merkovich is dead, and him and Tommy playing right away like, listen, we got to go see the Albanians. We got to go take all of Merkovich's customers. But let's take a moment right here to talk about what Vic does when Tommy lets him go. We see Vic go to visit Paulie's wife. He gives Paulie's wife a big envelope full of money, and he also gives her an envelope of information. And he says, if anything ever happens to me, turn this information over to the U.S. attorney. Also, we saw that Vic, he goes to pop up on Stacey Marks. He pops up on her while she's getting into her car, and thank God she was prepared. She was strapped, and she pulled it on him right away, too. But once she saw who popped into her car was Vic, it's like she was almost happy to see that Vic was alive. But Vic goes on to tell Stacey that Tommy doesn't think that he's the snitch. He thinks that Shanti is the snitch, and that Vic is free and clear. Vic is like, listen, I can move on with my life. Like, I'm ready to go to Nebraska. And Stacey is like, pretty much not so fast. You know what I mean? Because we can still use you to get to your sister. And Vic is pissed. Vic is like, listen, you keep pushing the end game. And she's like, listen, you don't got no other choice. And I'm like, damn, Vic. Like, I used to like Vic. I really did. And Vic had the opportunity to leave Chicago previously, and he did not. Now look at all the bullshit that he got himself involved in. My God, Vic. Now let's talk about Claudia. Claudia gets a few visits while she's laying up in the jail hospital bed recovering. She gets a visit from Stacey Marks, and Claudia obviously has an attitude with Stacey. Don't nobody want to talk to Stacey, right? So she tells Stacey, like, what do you want, man? Do you want me to help you take down Merkovich? And Stacey delivers the news like, listen, Merkovich is dead. The Marquez cartel took him out, and you next. So I need you to help me take down the Marquez cartel. And Claudia basically is like, hell no, I don't want no parts of that. And she tells Stacey to leave. Claudia also gets a visit from Ortega's lawyer, and he tells her, listen, my clients are not happy that doing business with you landed them in jail. And Claudia is basically saying, like, it's not my fault. You guys need to kill Tommy and Shanti. She pins it all on them, and she says it's not her fault for the colossal train wreck. And he leaves. He checks out her story. Everything checks out, allegedly, right? And he comes back and tells her, like, listen, your story checked out, and we're going to have Tommy and Shanti killed tonight. And from now on, you and Ortega are business partners until we say otherwise. Also, towards the end of this episode, we see Miguel and Tommy have another face-off. Miguel says, yes, like, I'm going to let you date my sister, but that don't mean I'm going to let you win in these streets. And Tommy is like, listen, may the best man win. And we see through this episode that Tommy and Diamond are trying to win the streets. We see them go meet with the Albanians, Peter to be specific. And Peter informs them like, listen, Miguel already came to me and I promised to do business with him for $30 a key. And Tommy is like, listen, well, we could do 28 a key. And Peter is like, nah, man, I'm going to just keep my word. And pretty much I'm going to stay out of it. But Tommy and Diamond are just on a mission because Merkovich got murked. They just on a mission to try to scoop up all of his customers. So although Peter didn't work out, Tommy and Diamond, they have a conversation. It's like, listen, we're going to focus on the long game. We're going to let Miguel win this one, but we're definitely going to take the city over and become Chicago's only connect. And again, they keep saying that line in this show. And again, I cannot wait to see Tommy be the only connect. I want to see him be king of Chicago before this season ends. Now, let's talk about D-Mac. Now, D-Mac is somebody that's never going to take over the streets of Chicago. D-Mac is so young and dumb, and I don't see no signs of him growing up out of it. But I am glad to see a D-Mac on this show because we got way more D-Macs out here in the real world than we got the Tommies and the Diamonds, okay? So D-Mac is a proper representation. So we see D-Mac approaching Diamond, and D-Mac is like, listen, man, I'm getting impatient, man. I moved out of the crib, man. I need some work. I need to get to this bag. And Diamond is like, well, did you talk to Tommy? And D-Mac is like, F Tommy. Oh my God. Like, F Tommy, huh? Okay, D-Mac. So he says, F Tommy, man. I don't need Tommy's permission. This is my life. And Diamond is like, listen, I need you to calm down. You already caught 2 bodies. Like, we're trying to keep you on the low for now. So until we say that we got some work for you, I just need you to lay low. And D-Mac, he's still popping off at the mouth. He's very impatient. Again, just very young and dumb. And Diamond says, like, listen, if you can't follow basic instructions, then I don't know if I'm going to work with you at all. And finally, D-Mac stops talking and he walks away. But then, sadly, we see Jannar telling Shanti what happened when he went to visit Kilo. He's telling her, like, listen, Kilo Kilo wanted us to take out D-Mac and he wanted done ASAP. He wanted done within 1 week. And Shanti said, well, listen, if Kilo can wait 1 week, then he could probably wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And this is how we're going to play it. We're going to make it look like D-Mac is being protected by Tommy and Diamond. And then Kilo is going to get so upset that when he comes home, he's going to end up taking out Tommy and Diamond for us. And Shanti always got the ideas, and I feel like she always just be little boy and Jannar, but that's another story. But you could tell that Jannar, he not going to take out his brother. Shanti, I could tell that. Why can't you tell that? But then we see Jannar talking to Diamond, and he's telling him the information about Kilo, that they need to take D-Mac out. And Diamond is like, listen, he's very hesitant at first. He really doesn't want to take D-Mac out because that's his business partner, Tommy's nephew. But at the same time, Diamond knows that it's business, and he knows that if they don't take D-Mac out, that it'll weaken the coalition. So after some thought, Diamond agrees. He says, fuck it. You know, we're going to kill him, secure the bag, but make sure that that kill does not come back to us. Tommy cannot find out whatsoever. And Jannar says to Diamond, like, listen, I know you're worried about Tommy figuring out stuff, but do you know that Tommy doesn't tell you everything? Jannar tells him about Tommy and Maria. And Diamond, he just takes all of the information in, and then he says to Jannar, well, what else are you keeping from me? Like, if you knew that, like, what else do you know? And Jannar is like, I'm not keeping nothing else from you, but I just want you to know who Tommy is. So Diamond, he approaches Tommy with that information, like, listen, why you ain't tell me that you was effing with Maria? And Tommy says, look, my personal business is not gonna affect nothing at all. Like, we still gonna be the top dogs in Chicago. You got nothing to worry about. But Diamond says, like, listen, no, if you effing the enemy sister, then I definitely need to know about that. And Diamond is right. Like, Tommy, you should have told him that. Everybody on this show is selfish and looking out for Delph. So at the same time, I don't blame Tommy for not telling Diamond, because listen, Diamond got a whole bunch of secrets that he's keeping from Tommy too. Now we see Tommy go to see Shanti at the gym, and they get ambushed by Ortega's men. But good thing they weren't caught slipping. I mean, Shanti and Tommy were ready. They were strapped, and they ended up taking all of those men out. And Shanti asked Tommy, like, who was that? Like, who are they? Who came for us? So Tommy pulls up the mask a little bit of one of the men, and he sees the Marquez cartel tattoo. So right then and there, they know that that hit is from the Marquez cartel. In this episode, we also see Elise going to visit Claudia, and she tells Claudia that the hit on Tommy and Shanti was a bust and that they are still alive. And Claudia tells her, like, listen, I really need you to go talk to Ortega. And Elise, she says, like, listen, I don't know if I could do that. I'm not ready. And Claudia smooth talks Elise right in that moment, and Elise does agree to do it. But damn, Elise is crazy, because I would be so done with Claudia. Let me tell you, she don't have no reason to be with Claudia. But if she gonna go talk to Ortega and them, she definitely gonna go get murked. Now we see D-Mac walking down the street, just not aware of his surroundings, just looking at videos on his phone, right? Just being young and dumb. And Jannar rolls up on him like, get the F in the car. And D-Mac is like, man, I don't answer to you. But D-Mac ultimately does end up getting into the car after Jannar tells him, like, listen, I got some work for you. We ready for you. And D-Mac is like, it's about time y'all recognize my talents. D-Mac is so crazy again. He has no clue what's about to happen to him. But at this point, I mean, I know Jannar told Diamond that he was going to go ahead and murk him. But I'm like, well, is Jannar going to go ahead and murk D-Mac right now? Which I don't think. I really think that D-Mac is going to stay alive all throughout the season. Or is Jannar going to go ahead and just put D-Mac to work and try to keep him alive for the 2-3 weeks that him and Shanti discussed? Now, the last scene of this episode made me chuckle. We see Tommy and Diamond ambush Vic in a dark parking deck. Tommy says, Vic, I saw you talking to that Fed. And Tommy, he puts the strap to Vic's head, but he does not kill him. He says, I won't kill you tonight, but I own you. Just know that you're going to be my inside man into the Fed. So I'm like, damn, they got Vic about to be a two-way snitch. About to be snitching on the Feds to Tommy, and he gonna be snitching to the Feds about Tommy. That is crazy. Again, Vic, what mess have you got yourself in? But just wondering if this is the right move for Tommy. But I do think that having Vic as an inside man is gonna end up getting Stacey Marks murked. And I'm not mad at it. But nonetheless, guys, I'm super excited to see what's gonna happen on season 3. Make sure you turn on your notifications and let me know if I missed anything down below. This episode was a lot. But thank you for watching this video. See you all next week. Peace.